5 chess traps to destroy the Caro-Kann fast. Ready? Here we go. We start out with e4 and black responds with the Caro-Kann. We play knight c3 and black plays the most common move d5, where now we initiate the 2-knight attack with knight f3. We trade in the center and black attacks our knight on the e4 square, and we simply drop it back to g3, counter-attacking the bishop on f5 just like so, forcing it to drop back to the g6 square so that it doesn't get captured. Now we follow up with the beautiful move h4, threatening to go for h5 and actually trap this bishop because it has nowhere to go. But black sees this and plays this move h6, simply giving his bishop some breathing room. Now we attack the bishop once more with knight e5 just like so, and black is forced to drop back their bishop because they don't want to double their pawns with bishop h7. We follow up with the beautiful queen h5, and the idea is that queen takes f7 on the next move is checkmate. But black isn't stupid, and so they stop this with the move g6. You may be thinking, well, surely now the attack is fully over. Well, it turns out we have the beautiful queen sacrifice with bishop c4, leaving our queen to die on the other side of the board. Because if they capture our queen, well, we have the beautiful bishop takes f7 checkmate in 10 moves. But you may be thinking, well, what happens if they don't take our queen? Because black could always see it coming. Well, if they don't take our queen and instead play the best move e6, blocking all checkmates, well, now we have this move queen e2. And the 3 most common moves by black in this position are the moves bishop g7, knight f6, and knight d7. But do you know what all of these moves have in common? Well, for example, if they were to play the move bishop g7, all of these moves lose to the move knight takes f7, a beautiful fork on the queen and the rook. If black doesn't capture our knight, well, we're simply either going to pick up the queen or the rook on the next move. So what happens if they do capture our knight? Well, if they do capture our knight, we have queen takes e6, and wherever the king goes next, in fact they're forced to go to f8, we have queen f7 checkmate in just 13 moves. Now time for trap number 2. The second trap is a beautiful smothered checkmate in 6 moves. It starts off with e4, black decides to play the Caro-Kann with c6, and we play d4. Black now follows up with d5, and we develop our knight to c3. Now, we're actually going to have a checkmate in just the next 3 moves. How crazy is that? Let me show you. Black captures our pawn on e4, we capture back with our knight, and now black decides to play this move knight d7, trying to support their knight coming to f6 in the future. We now play a very subtle move, queen e2, setting up a beautiful trap along this e-file, which you will now see because after this move knight f6, which has been played nearly 30,000 times, we have the move knight d6, and that is checkmate in 6 moves. But not only that, a smothered checkmate in just 6 moves, because the pawn can't capture back because of our queen, and that is a beautiful trap that has been played over 30,000 times. Now time for trap number 3. Trap number 3 comes out of the beautiful alien gambit, and it starts off with the moves e4, c6, d4, and d5, where now you can make the choice to either play the move knight d2 or the move knight c3, and it doesn't really matter, because let's say you play the move knight c3, well, when black captures on e4, you are ready to capture back either way, so it doesn't really make a difference. Now you decide to capture back on the e4 square, and black decides to play the move knight f6, immediately challenging your knight in the center. Now, you don't drop it back and you don't capture. Why would you do that? Instead, you play the beautiful alien gambit, knight g5, with the idea that now if black plays the move h6, by far the most common move being played over 450,000 times, trying to kick out your knight, you're not going to go back. You've come all the way here with your knight from c3 all the way to g5. You may as well go forward, and so you decide to capture this pawn on the f7 square. Now, this is a fork on the queen and the rook, so really black is forced to capture back on the f7 square, where now we simply follow up with the beautiful developing move knight f3. Here comes a move which has been played over 13,000 times. It is this move bishop e6. At first you may be thinking, well, what's the problem with that? It looks like it defends the king, right? Well, we follow up with this beautiful move knight e5 check, which is why we brought the knight to f3. Black simply drops back to the e8 square, and now we play this very subtle move, as it always is in the Caro-Kann traps, with this move bishop d3. Now, here are some beautiful things about this. Black could play 2 moves, well really they could play anything, but there is a trap either way here if black plays one of these 2 moves. If black plays this move knight d7, we actually have a forced checkmate in 2, with bishop g6 check on the king, and the bishop is forced to slide back to f7 to defend, but now it is a beautiful checkmate supported by the knight, and the king has nowhere to go. But what happens if they don't play this move knight d7? Well, instead, if black gets greedy and captures this pawn on d4, you guys may be thinking, well, what's the issue with that? Well, it's the same thing as before. Bishop g6 check, and no matter what black does to defend the check, let's say they slide their king away, well, we're simply going to capture the queen on the next move because of the discovered check, and there is a beautiful win in just 11 moves. Now time for trap number 4. Trap number 4 is a beautiful way in which you can either win a rook or a queen in just 11 moves. It starts off with the moves e4, c6, d4 and d5, where we now play this move knight c3. We both trade in the center just like this, and black attacks our knight in the center with the move bishop f5. We drop back to g3, retreating and also attacking the bishop on the f5 square, so now black is forced to drop back to g6 because they don't want to lose their bishop. But now we simply come for the bishop with h4, threatening to go for h5. It looks very similar to the position we actually had in the first trap, so nice job if you remembered that. Now black plays the best move and plays this move h6, giving their bishop a little bit of breathing room if ever we decide to play this move h5. Now we simply develop a piece with knight f3, and the idea is to also go to e5 in the future, as you guys will see on the next move, after this move e6. Because now we jump into the e5 square and add another attacker to this bishop on the g6 square. But black is like, well, I played this move h6 earlier so that I could always drop back to h7. And that's precisely what they do. They drop back to h7 just like this. And now, here comes the trap. We play the beautiful move bishop d3. And at first glance, it may look like we've made a big mistake, because now we've cut off the queen's defense of this d4 pawn. Because now, black can simply capture this pawn for free. Well, it wasn't a mistake, it was actually totally on purpose, because now we have a +2 winning position and can play this beautiful move, knight takes f7. Now, here's a couple of things. First of all, Stockfish says that the best move for black in this position is to simply capture on d3 and then we capture the rook on h8, and that is how to win a rook in just 11 moves. You get a rook for a bishop and so you're winning. We have a +2 position. But what if black doesn't play the best Stockfish move with the move bishop takes d3 and instead captures our knight on the f7 square? Well, let's see if you can spot it in 3, 2, 1. Well, it's very similar to the last trap in the form of a discovered attack with the move bishop g6. We don't capture the bishop, but instead we give a check on the king. With the point is now, black has to defend their king, but whoopsies, now we're also attacking the queen, because now when black captures our bishop, we don't care about that, because thank you very much for the queen, and we go on and win the game. Now time for trap number 5. The fifth and final trap is a magnificent queen sacrifice on the 9th move to get checkmate on the 11th move. It starts off with e4 and c6, of course the Caro-Kann, it is a Caro-Kann video, and now we play this move d4. Black goes for d5 and we play the move knight c3 and we both trade in the center of the board. And now black decides to go for the Caro variation, immediately challenging our knight on the e4 square with the move knight f6. You guys may remember that earlier we played the alien gambit with the move knight g5, but now I'm going to show you guys something a little bit different so that you guys can have some fun with different things when you feel like it. And we're going to play this beautiful move queen d3, simply defending our knight on the e4 square. And now black decides to challenge our center with the move e5 and we decide to capture it on e5, attacking the black knight. But now black decides to try and be clever by winning this pawn back with queen a5 check. We block and they win the pawn back just like so. But here comes the fun part. We long castle with the idea of opening up our rook in the future and also defending this pawn on the b2 square, which is being attacked by the queen. Black now decides to capture on the e4 square, but little do they know that this has just blundered a beautiful checkmate in 3. The checkmate in 3 starts off with queen d8 check. Black's only legal move is to capture back on the d8 square, where now we can play the beautiful bishop g5 double check on the king, where now black's king has only 2 legal moves. First of all, if they go to e8, Well, it's a beautiful checkmate on the d8 square, just like this. But you may be thinking, well, what happens if they don't go to e8 and instead go to the c7 square? Well, if they do this, it's arguably even cooler, because we now have a bishop checkmate supported by the rook, and the black king is totally cut off, and we win the game in just 11 moves, whilst sacrificing our beautiful queen. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed that trap. I really hope you guys enjoyed these 5 incredible traps which you can use in your games against the Caro-Kann. If you did, don't forget to smash those like and subscribe buttons for more videos just like this one. We're so close to 1k subscribers, so that would be absolutely awesome to reach. Links are in the description, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.